What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for jumping into another video. My name is Josh, and I'm just your average Joe day trader. Listen, fam, wanted to spend a little bit of time on this Saturday evening and just share two things with you real quick. First, I want to talk a little bit about the Golden Cross, which is an extremely bullish technical signal. I want to talk to you a little bit about that because we've been seeing a lot of stocks hit that Golden Cross point, and what does that mean for you as a retail day trader or a swing trader or even as a long-term investor. I also want to share with you that we have finally gone through and finished our analysis of all of the 30-day moving averages and analysis of the average Joe best day trade stocks for September. So I'm going to publish that list for you. I'm going to throw it right here on the screen. And I say, go ahead and pause the video right here, take a screenshot of it, take a picture of it with your phone, lock it in, and make sure that you start to do your own homework, your own due diligence, study the trends, study the patterns, take a look at these stocks, get comfortable with them. These are the stocks that I'm going to be using from this point forward, September 15th on Monday, all the way through to probably mid-October when I update that list again. And you will notice there's some stocks we've removed from there, but I'm going to talk about that in a couple minutes. First, let's talk about the Golden Cross. So the Golden Cross is absolutely a classic bullish technical signal in trading. The Golden Cross happens when the 50-day moving average, which is a short-term trend, crosses above the 200-day moving average, which is a long-term trend. So what does that mean? Well, traders see it as a sign that the momentum is shifting upward, right? Because as retail day traders are wanting to be in things less time, when you see the 50-day moving average cross above the 200-day moving average, well, that's a good signal for us in the short term because it's going to be moving a lot quicker and potentially in an upward momentum trend. Also, often this signals the potential start of a long-term uptrend. So meaning that it's going to run up and continue in an upward trend over that long period of time. So even if you wanted to stay in something or get into it for the long term, well, then you can do that. For me, I love to day trade because I'm going to get in, let it run up. There's going to be some sort of a drop, a retest each day. I'm going to buy it back at the bottom, run it back up, and just keep doing that wash, rinse, repeat. And so I like to see the Golden Cross and that 50-day moving average go over the 200-day moving average. Many investors, including the big funds, even the algorithms, they watch for it. So it can become a very self-fulfilling move. The opposite pattern of the Golden Cross has a horrible name, and I don't even like to use it, but it's called the Death Cross. And the Death Cross is when the 50-day moving average drops below the 200-day moving average, which then causes it to run bearish. So for example, if a stock's been recovering from a downtrend and the 50-day moving average finally climbs above or over that 200-day moving average, well, that crossover is the Golden Cross and could attract a lot of new buyers, a lot of sentiment in the market for institution buys, for hedge funds, etc. They see interest in it and maybe buying in, which causes the stock and pushes it up. Now, let me talk to you a little bit about how to trade the Golden Cross. Now, this is not a very easy concept to grasp. I'm going to give it to you in a lot of detail. You may have to watch this one a couple times, but let me just share with you. So first of all, the setup, the signal for the Golden Cross. This is your strategy rules and the guidelines that we as retail traders will use for the Golden Cross. Your setup and signal is to identify that Golden Cross 50-day moving average crossing above the 200-day moving average. And I'm going to show you a chart here that helps us to understand what that all looks like. But you want to consider, and it's preferable that you find where the 50-day moves over the 200-day, preferably after a downtrend. All right. Or say you see some sort of consolidation. You've heard me talk about cup and handle. It consolidates in the handle. Boom, it explodes. Well, you want to look for some consolidation so the reversal potential is high. Also, it's good if the market or the stock is in a supportive macro or even a sector trend, meaning is it a tech sector trend? What I love to trade in, is it already positive? Are a lot of the stocks surrounding it already in a positive momentum, positive trend? If it is, then this may be the right one for you to get into once you see the 50 move over the 200. Confirmation of whether this is the right time to get into a golden cross is you have to use other indicators to ensure there's no false signal. You have to look at volume. You've got to look for that rising volume at the crossover. You also have to use momentum indicators like the RSI, like the MACD. And I love the MACD. I love when I see the MACD crossing over the signal. And you have to make sure that there's strength building in volume and in these indicators before you jump into a golden cross play, because there a lot of times are fake outs in the golden cross. And then your entry, well, common entries basically are on the day of the golden cross close. So once the crossover is confirmed, then you want to wait for a little bit of a pullback towards the 50-day moving average or even towards the 200-day moving average, which may act as a support level. So I tell you all the time, look for support and resistance levels, build your support and resistance levels. Well, with this one, you want to wait to get in it until you see it hit and literally living on a support level. And then you're waiting for it to basically show you the rejection of support moving back up. And then you enter on the bounce. Some traders are going to wait for the price to also break above a recent resistance just for that extra confirmation. So if you have a resistance level and you've gotten up to that resistance level and it rejects it a few times, a lot of traders, sometimes including myself, I want to see that it's going to break that resistance level. Once it breaks that resistance level, we're in it. We're going to run it up. So that's what you want to look for, all that extra confirmation. How you're setting your risk. You understand the risks and you're taking the proper precautions in your own risk tolerance level. Your stop loss should be somewhere below the 50-day moving average or a recent swing low once you are in the trade, and below the 200-day moving average in a more conservative setup. Use the average true range, the ATR, base stop to give you room for volatility. So now let's talk about your profit target and the exit. Well, you want to use that risk to reward ratio. For example, aim for 2 times or 3 times the risk that you put on. Target prior resistance levels, so areas where the price struggled before, or your psychological round numbers, meaning what is your next resistance level for this stock? If you have not set resistance support levels, then don't get in the game because you're gambling and you don't even know where it's going or where it's been. And you have to understand that. So figure out what those next resistance levels are. Is it heading to that next resistance level? And when it hits that resistance level, is it going to start to bounce and reject that resistance level? You want to know that because then you want to pull out before it turns around and heads back south. You want to use your trailing stop loss once the trade is in profit so that you can capture more upside while protecting your profits, protecting your gains. And we talk about that a lot. Use your trailing stop loss. And then you want to exit if the death cross forms, meaning that the 50-day average drops below the 200-day, or if you start to see the momentum to fall, you want to exit and get out of it. Let's take a look really quick. So let's take a look at this example. This is actually a real deal, actual golden cross scenario. And I just want to show you what that looks like. So when you're actually looking at your stocks, when you're charting, you know what you're looking for in that actual chart scenario. So you see here, runs down, it's running up really nicely. But when you get to this up point, this is where you see that golden cross occurrence. The 50-day moving average goes above the 200-day moving average. And what's interesting is you see we're on a bit of an uptrend. So that's why I explained to you, make sure you watch for the pullback, watch for the drop. And as long as your 50-day moving average continues to run up with the 200-day moving average below it, then wait for the turn and the potential uptrend, which it happens right here. And then you're going to run it all the way up, and it should continue to go until you get to the point where that 50-day moving average drops back down below the 200-day moving average. And you can see if you go back far in the chart here, you're going to see that example of the death cross. Here's the 50-day moving average, which is up here. We're going to assume that a lot of this was running up. It crosses over the 200-day moving average below, and it starts to run down. Now, as this stock continues to run in an upward momentum, so does your 50-day moving average, and then it goes to the golden cross, and it makes that change, and now it continues to run in an upward momentum. I hope that's helped you. I hope this is something that you do some homework on, do some research on, your own due diligence, and I think it should work out pretty good. to at least understand what that golden cross is. I had some questions about it, and so here it is. Now, let's go to the brand new, just releasing Average Joe Day Trade Best Day Trade Stock List for September. Now, remember, I usually run these 3 to 4 weeks. The August list was running for about 4 weeks, maybe a little bit longer, but here is the new list. And you are going to notice, and some of you are going to drop me comments and share with me, hey, what happened to that stock? Some of the stocks that run nicely are not on the list anymore because they don't run as well as the stocks on this list. I really want to keep the list to about 20, 22, somewhere around there stocks. I could have 50 stocks on here, but then you're not focusing on the ones that have the highest volume, that have the highest run, have the highest potential. And I'm doing this homework for you. I'm doing this homework for you by trending it, by looking at the 30-day average. I'm looking at the last 50-day and 200-day moving averages. I'm trying to do a lot of the heavy lifting for you to give you a list that you can look at these stocks every single day and say, what do I want to get into today? Now, a lot of the new stocks on this list, you're going to be like, that makes sense. I've been hearing a lot about these stocks, and I agree with you, Josh. And so I understand there's a lot of stocks here that are really good. Some of the stocks that are not on this list, and I'm sorry they're not, doesn't mean I'm not still in them for long-term holds. Doesn't mean I don't believe in the stocks anymore. And I'll give you the best example. Please don't kill me, but BBAI has been removed from the list because it just doesn't have the movement to be a great day trade stock. Am I in it long-term? Yes, I am. I am in it with you and all of you, my BBAI family. We are in it. And we're going to run this bad boy until it explodes. Totally great, but it's not on the best day trade list right now. Will it return one day? Yeah, when it starts to crank, I bet you it will be. For now, it's not. Other ones that I've removed from here, I removed Run. I removed CNC. These are some of the ones that just don't have the same movement or the same volume that would qualify, in my mind, in my analysis, as a best day trade stock. This is the new list. So let's go to the charts, and I'm going to show you these real quick just so you see them. And then you please go do your homework, go do your own due diligence on each and every one of them. Because when I wake up every morning, I look right at my list and say, who is within my box strategy, potentially in the pre-market running up, and I watched for the 9:30 bell to see what they do, and I make a lot of decisions based on this list. So first and foremost, you'd have to believe Tesla's on the list. Tesla has just had some really nice momentum and is on a very, very steady upward trend, making a lot of money for people. NVIDIA is also on the list. NVIDIA lately has been tracking really nicely. Let's stick with the 30-minute here. Okay. Really nice opportunities in NVIDIA. Palantir, listen, Palantir's been a home run many, many days over the 30 where you can make a lot of money, get in, get out, take profit. AMD also has an explosive opportunity. And I've been really watching and monitoring its 30-day averages. Hood is another one that's got some great movement, some great flow. HIMS is also another one. You can make a lot of money in HIMS. Have patience. BMNR. Now, BMNR is a Bitmine immersion technology stock. Okay. This basically works off of the crypto world. If you don't want to be in the crypto world, you don't want to invest in crypto, this is the stock for you. BMNR. BMNR works off Ethereum. It basically runs against the crypto. And when I say against, meaning that when crypto is running up, BMNR usually is running up. And you can see this positive, successful trend right now for BMNR over the last many days, just like crypto has been running up in many days. But a very, very good day trade stock. I added it to the list. Rocket Labs, I don't think there's any reason why anyone would doubt why Rocket Labs is on this list. SMCI remains on the list. IREN, a lot of us have been talking about IREN, some amazing movement in IREN, stays on the list. SoFi, come on, you know I love SoFi. I'm not going to drop SoFi, not getting rid of SoFi. I'm not so sure it's going to drop back down below 26 bucks. We'll see what happens next week. But you know, 25.50, it was at 25.30 on Thursday. Friday, it didn't get back there. Thursday, it didn't get back there. Friday, it didn't get back there. So Wednesday, 25.30, Thursday above it, Friday above it. I was waiting for 25.50 to get back in and get it back up another dollar. Wash, rinse, repeat. Every 1,000 shares I buy is $1,000 in the bank. We'll see what happens with SoFi next week. I added Intel. Intel's back on the list, everybody. Take a look at what it's doing right now. Yes, it's at 2402. Great opportunity to get in. I actually have some calls for January 26th on Intel based on the release of funds from the government to Intel and the purchase, the 9% purchase the government made to them to have ownership. So we're just waiting for the explosion for Intel, and I'm in it in some calls and I'm in it in shares waiting. RKT Rocket is new. So we have now Rocket Labs and RKT Rocket. And this one also is a very, very good day trade stock. And you know, how could I not have APLD? My fave, APLD is there. SBET, SharpLink, remains on the list, doing very well. Cipher, CIFR is the ticker. Very good day trade stock. Wolf is back on the list, and we still are waiting for it to hit potentially that $12 before it turns around and starts to run down. There are some analysis on Wolf telling us that it's going to get to a point, this run up right here, which will turn around, come back down to close this gap right here. We're not so sure, but we'll see what happens because that would be a very far drop. Open is on the list, everybody. And I do like Open. It's a very, very good company, good stock, doing a lot of good things and trading very well. Resolve, REZOLVE, RZLV is the ticker. Another new one, lower dollar price point action. ONDS has some incredible movement the last several days, really the last several weeks, and has been trending nicely. So it is on the list. Okay, Average Joe Day Trade or AJDT family, this is the list. This is what I'm going to be following for the next 3, 4 to 6 weeks. These are the stocks I'm going to be looking at every night, every day, using my box strategy, trending them every day. I've shared with you, if you hadn't seen the other videos, I'm now doing a 5-day average at a 30-minute to select my ceiling and my floor. And I'm going to be working on that actually tonight into tomorrow. I am getting ready to go watch the Canelo fight, though. And so I'll be working on some of that while the fight's going on. But this is the list. Do your homework. Do your due diligence. Just do, pick the stocks that you like. Do some research about the company. You've got to have some belief and some faith in those companies so that you feel comfortable trading them. But this is what I'm putting out there for you. If you follow it, great. You don't have to. But here is where we're at. Listen, I hope you continue to have a great weekend. Excited to have the Sunday night 8 p.m. update when the S&P 500 shows us the gap up or the gap down, which potentially will show us what the overnight into the Monday morning trend will be. Very excited to see how we run into the September 17th Fed rate cut decision. I say that lightly because I'm not sure what's going to happen. Are we going to get 75 points, 50 points, 25 points? Let's wait and see. If we get 50 or above, market's going to run. Excited to wait for it. Everybody, see you Sunday. Josh out. Peace.